Hi everybody, this is Ina again, and today I would like to make another collage page. This is just a gessoed page, and I want to use some homemade washi. This is called Collage washi tape, and there is a great YouTube channel by Shemi where she explains exactly how to do it, and I will post her link in my description box. Please check it out. These particular ones were made with little scraps of napkin paper. So I'm starting by putting some yellow watercolor on my page. I choose a nice bright goldenrod yellow, and I'm keeping it fairly wet because I want to treat it with some alcohol. This is 90% alcohol. Just give it a quick um, spray and dry it really well. And now I'm adding a little bit of magenta watercolor just in certain places to put a little more interest into the background. Again, I'm keeping it fairly wet to make sure the alcohol will react. But in this case, because it got a bit brighter than I had planned, I am using my paper towel to take a bit of color off. And again, I'm drying in between steps all the time. So now I will put down this washi tape. It is made from little scraps of napkin paper, which I always have left over because I use a lot of napkins in my decoupage collage pages, and it's just a nice way to use it up, and you can combine different colors, and because it is attached to a self-adhesive background, it works like a charm. Homemade washi tape. So I just want to give a little bit of interest to the background with these strips, and I love the colors in them, so I am kind of color coordinating things a little bit here. I love those green flowers. Not too often that you see green flowers, so I first cut them out just roughly to see where they would fit, and now I'm going all around them. It's a little bit detailed, but it looks nice if you take your time to cut these things out very nicely. A lot of little corners. You need a really sharp scissor and a little patience. Alright, just about done. Yep. So now I'm thinking, where do I put it, or in which way I want to attach it, and I actually cut off that one flower to attach it in a different position later. Now a little more interest for the background. I have this stencil which is like crackle, so I'm using some black acrylic paint to mostly go around the borders. So just to give a little borderline and a little more interest, and the black is a nice contrast to the bright yellow. Alright. And again, I dry everything so in between. Now, she is one of my main images. Excuse me. So again, I'm cutting her out and see how she will fit on my page. She's a little bit long, too long, so I'm cutting a little piece off her rake there. Alright. Now before I start gluing my collage elements, I want to give background a little more detailed, so I'm just diluted some white acrylics and give it a little sprinkle. Alright, now I picked up this napkins. It has an old world globe illustration on it. I'm using just one of the circles to give a little background to my lady in her corner. And I also found another one of those green flowers right on the next page. And so I'm cutting this one out too. So it will help me bring a little balance to the page. Alright, maybe right there. Okay. Alright, now I'm using gel medium to glue everything down. Cutting a little bit so it ends right where the washi starts, yeah? Right, I prefer working with gel medium. I used to use Mod Podge or Elmer's glue, but it gets everything pretty wet. The gel medium is not quite as wet, so you don't get a lot of wrinkles. And to me, it dries faster too, so I prefer it, especially for these more smaller, delicate pieces. Alright, as you can see, I changed my mind a couple of times until I find a position I like, and the little extra separate flower, I'll tuck it on the top there. There we go. Make sure everything is glued down really good, all the edges. And now this main image. I'm moving her over a little because I kind of like the look of her knee going over the washi tape there. But now I'm looking at it, and there is a lot of empty space. Even though I could put a quote, I feel like it might need something else. So I looked through my stash and I found this pretty peacock. It is also taken from a napkin. And I'm always a little bit color conscious. So this guy has a beautiful blue on him, and it kind of matches her shorts. So yeah, I like the balance it brings to the page. And then I found these two words called wholesome harmony. I think they came from some healthy cereal advertisement, but I thought they kind of fit the spirit of the page. A little bit of stamping. This is just a background script stamp. Just a little bit here and there. I like the way the background still shows a lot, and you can see the effect the alcohol had. But I also like putting plenty of details and interest into the background. So now I'm using my facial little cloth and my finger to apply some ink, mostly pink and a little orange. I go all around the edges and also around the images, any kind of place I think may need a little shading. Around the words. I first start very lightly, and you will see later I'll add a little other colors as well to bring out the shading a little stronger. Now I'm outlining her and her rake, her clothes, just to make it pop a little more. I'm using ultra fine Sharpie. It usually works for me. Alright, just about done. Sometimes I do broken lines when I outline. I think it has a nice effect. It doesn't all have to be perfectly lined around the edges. Alright, just about done there with her. Now I'm thinking of a little more shading, so I'm using my charcoal and I'm going all around the figure one more time and smudge it a little bit with my finger to give a little more shading, a little more depth to the whole picture. charcoal pencils are very easy to use for this purpose and make it quite simple to apply shading. So I'm again applying a little more shading. This time I'm using kind of a light brown. And there's a little white gel pen for some highlights, just to give a little more interest, accentuate her eyes a little bit. And now I'm outlining the branches, also to make them a little bolder. And then I go ahead and I outline pretty much all the little flowers. And when you see me scribble on the cardboard, which is right underneath my page, it's because sometimes the Sharpie will clog up. Maybe it gets a little bit of gel medium on it or the ink, and by rubbing it on a more rough surface, it usually cleans it up right away and you can just continue. Alright, this is a Sharpie paint marker. I'm just putting a few dots in the center of the flowers. And I want to brighten up the not the flowers, sorry, the feathers of the bird a little bit. So I'm adding blue and white to just bring them out a little more. And also around the eye of the peacock, I accentuate the white and use my gel pen to make it a little bolder. The same for the plume on the top of his head. And then I continue outlining. On the peacock I used mostly my white gel pen. On the other things mostly my black Sharpie. Just for variety. And now I'm also outlining the words one more time with white gel pen. Again, this is a watercolor pen. It's really nice for tiny details because that's a very fine tip, or for shading because it smudges really nicely. Now I realize I like to kind of add a few more crackles to the border to kind of fill in the gaps I'd left earlier. Alright. And I like a little more stamping. There's kind of a bit of a empty spot right there in the middle, but I don't want to go over her legs, so I'm closing it up, covering it up, sorry. And there we go. That works. So a little more shading. Again, I'm using red, but very lightly, and smudge it. It just yeah, gives a nice foundation for those words. And now I'm doing the same with the bird. I'm using a blue watercolor pen and go around mostly the underside and smudge it a little bit to give it the illusion of a little depth. Alright, well, that was it. I hope you enjoyed it. Here's a picture one more time for you. Bye bye.